All right, everybody. Hello, and welcome to another session of Control+M Presents. Thanks for joining us today. I'm in beautiful downtown Grand Rapids, Michigan today, attending the Advanced Manufacturing Expo 2024 with Rockwell and Plex. So if you're in the area, stop by the Plex booth and see me. Our audio might be a little bit different than usual, but as long as the wireless at this hotel holds up, we'll be good. As a reminder to everybody, we are recording this session, so you're on mute. When question time comes, and that's going to be pretty frequent today, you'll need to remember to unmute yourself. Today, our Veronica Meyer is going to have an open forum that we affectionately call Geek Speak. This is a little bit different than most of our sessions, as Veronica's going to have less content and more time for questions, so don't be shy. Just remember one thing, she might not be able to accurately diagnose your issues without access to your system, but she'll answer all the questions that she can. Veronica joined Control+M almost 5 years ago, and we're just thrilled that she did. She's not only a Plex accredited developer, she is our IT manager, and whoops, hold on a second here. Got stuck watching people come in. She's not only a Plex accredited developer, she's our IT manager, and she handles all things technical for us and our clients, and always with patience. She's going to be talking about a variety of subjects, and I'll be watching the chat for questions. So when you have questions, please put something in the chat, and when I get a chance to either interrupt her or when she's switching topics, I'll call on you to ask her questions. So without any further ado, take it away, Miss Veronica.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our third Geek Speak, right? And there's been a lot going on with the world according to Plex. So I'm assuming you guys have seen all kinds of pop-ups coming up, right? So these are some of the changes coming in through the IAM world, and I'll go over them in a minute. This is a new one. This is called process flow. And some of the customers that we're seeing are using API calls to pull live data from reports. This is like on my cool list. So to kick things off, I'm going to start. There's a lot of things going on with IAM. These are important and they're going to affect everyone. I was going to say that as of August 31st, but Plex has changed that announcement already to September 3rd. But they're going to be enforcing the use of tenant access management for all Plex and Rockwell employees. Those employees will no longer be able to access your Plex instance directly unless you grant them access. And then when you open cases, there's also a warning in there that's letting you know that any Plex or Rockwell employee who needs access to your PCN to look at a case will need your IAM administrator to grant them security. It's hit or miss right now with some of the Plex employees doing it currently. IAM administrators will get an email saying that so-and-so requires access. You'll need to go into IAM and grant tenant access. When you do so, make sure that the time frame is long enough and then select the applications that they will need access to. IAM administrators, you can allow other members of your PCN to approve access by giving them the IAM security role, Tenant Access Administrator. Now, there's a new login screen coming. It's supposed to be in effect 8.2, but it's already been moved to 8.22. It's going to provide single sign-on users the ability to click on their identity provider on the first screen. And this is going to reduce the need for them to enter a company code on every login. The login screen is going to change for everyone, Classic and UX. There's a test platform available, and there's directions in the community on how to set it up and test it. The community post was from Wednesday, July 24th, in case you're looking for it. We know that some of our customers automate their login processes using custom scripts, and that changes to this login screen are going to potentially break those scripts. But Plex thought of this already, and as of July 3rd, certificates are available for time clocks or work centers where you're using a login script or maybe just a sticky note. Per Plex's release, we released the certificate-based authentication earlier this month to simplify login for generic users and prevent the coming user interface from breaking those scripts. Also, remember that Plex is hosting open office hours every Thursday at noon. Join the IAM user group and use the meeting link for the next open office if you've got questions. One last thing on IAM, Plex is going to depreciate the user ID or the Plex, well, I got this all wrong, right? Plex user ID in user manager. It was too many user words. I've not seen a timeline on when this is going to happen, but currently, if you use the employee screen to add users to IAM, there's a check to see if the user ID is already being used in IAM. But there was a post that says it doesn't work to find a duplicate user ID. What I have seen is if the ID already exists, IAM creates the same ID with a number behind it, such as a 1. Also, if you set up an ID and then later change it in IAM, it will not match the user ID in the user manager screen. IAM and Plex actually use something called an account ID, which you see at the right side of the user manager screen. And that's what it uses to keep the two things in sync. I think that wraps up IAM. So I'm going to stop talking and open up for everyone before I go on to the next subject.
Anyone got any IAM questions or comments? Veronica, the chat looks pretty quiet and I'm not seeing anyone unmute themselves, so go ahead.
I guess I did good.
Wait, hold on a second. Is the new, Sharona asked, is the new IAM mandatory?
Yes. So IAM is what everybody got moved to, what, almost 2 years ago now, right? So that is going to be the authentication piece for Plex. It's going to be the authentication piece for Demandcaster. It'll eventually is working its way through the community.
Is the setup completely different? Like, are we gonna have to redo everything that we did 2 or 3 years ago?
No, it's the exact same thing you currently see. The screen when you go to login is going to change. And if you've got generic, I don't believe you guys had any scripts. So a lot of companies, when they turn their computers on, they have a login script that automatically brings up Plex and logs them into it. That's the piece that they're talking about.
Any other IAM questions? Let's move on, Veronica.
Okay. IntelliPlex 2.0, guys, it's out. It's available in test for everyone. And Plex has been migrating customer PCN groups, which means that all of the PCNs within a defined group are migrated at the same time. They've been doing this since the beginning of July. You access it via UX only. So if our straight classic people, you're going to have some of the UX set up in order to be able to get to IntelliPlex if that's what you choose. It's vastly different from the current version because they've actually brought it up, I think 4 or 5 different versions from where they leased it prior. Many of the users should find it a lot easier to use. But be aware that Plex is not migrating anything in your My Contact directories when it's doing the migrations. The documentation for the new version is in the Document Center in the community, and there's no PEP classes for the new versions at this point. I'd also make sure that you look at the IntelliPlex folder and report security, make sure that gets migrated. We've had a couple of instances of customers where they have created secondary IntelliPlex groups to control which reports people can see. That security has not always been migrated correctly. You want to make sure that that inherited security is altered for the specific IntelliPlex groups that you want it. Otherwise, once you get past the new front end, it should be pretty familiar to everyone. I haven't explored all the enhancements, but if anybody has some experience in that, speak up.
Any comments from anyone on the new IntelliPlex? Has anyone tried switching any reports yet?
Um, I have some questions from my boss Marty Beyer wasn't able to make this meeting, but I do have some questions that he wanted me to ask regarding the new IntelliPlex, if this is the time for that.
This is the time.
Bring it up.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So, First thing, the near real-time data sources. Is there a way to determine which ones are near real time? Or I think there's a few different ones, like maybe an hour, or 30 minutes, or 15 minutes, or how are those categorized? Or is there a way to tell which ones are near real time?
Anything that I know that runs off the near real-time server, it's all at the same time. So everything would be updated within that 4-hour mark.
Within the 4-hour mark.
So Veronica, do you want to
Okay.
explain how that 4 hour works? It's not updating every minute every 4 hours. It's usually what, 1, 5, and 9, and then 1, 5, and 9 again, something like that.
Yeah, so each PCN group probably has a slightly different, they don't all run every PCN simultaneously at the same time. So what they do is based off of your N, right?
Hmm.
They will take a snapshot of live and then they will make that available to the NRT pieces of it, right? IntelliPlex, some of the VisionPlex screens, SQL codes, so that you have a snapshot at 10 o'clock. It is available at 10:30 for the most current data. And then in 4 hours past that, which would be 2 o'clock, it will take another snapshot. And then at 2:30, it would be available.
Okay, and that's what I'm used to with even before IntelliPlex 2.0. So maybe we had that misunderstood that it was going to be less than a 4-hour um,
I
lag
have
between
not
those, I
heard
guess.
anything about that being less than a 4-hour update.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
The other question was utilizing external data and
Mhm.
uploading I don't know if it'd be Excel data or so as an example, if we wanted to look at customer shipping data for a customer, but from our old ERP system, we have some legacy data that we have for them as far as shipping data that could we upload that into IntelliPlex and then also use that table to kind of query and combine with Plex's data?
That's what I'm hearing. That I've not tried that under the new version. A number of years ago, say about 5, 6 years ago, it used to be an available option. Then it
Hmm.
dropped off when we upgraded. This upgrade is supposed to allow that to be happen again. So you can take an Excel spreadsheet, you can take the data from Plex, merge it together in your IntelliPlex report and report on it.
Okay, so we'll
Pretty
dig
cool.
into that.
Yeah, it is cool.
Another one was as far as a company logo. Is that something that we could upload into IntelliPlex or use on reports or graphs in
That
any way?
again is available, should be available under this version. So yes, again,
Okay.
it's one of those things that was there, dropped off, and is now back again.
Okay. And the last two questions. One is a visualization and a document. When you go into the new IntelliPlex, creating one of those, can you expand on what those are exactly? Composing a document or creating a visualization?
I'm not sure what it is that you're asking. So when you first go in there, it's very different from what we currently used to, right?
Yeah.
So where you use and I saw there's a checkbox on the top right where it makes it kind of go back to the old version where you could see them linear versus spread out and a graphical on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
see that.
yeah.
So if I were to go in, because it used to say like when you'd want to create a new report, it would say create report or create chart. But now there's the options of it says create a visualization or compose a document. And it's from like a plus symbol up in the top left.
Right. And then when you drill down through there, that's when you get here you get to the analytic platform or, a SQL query or that it still drills down through that the same way. It just doesn't say the same as it used to in the old
Okay,
system.
I got you. And the
Got it.
last one, I guess, was kind of this. Oh, this is about IntelliPlex portals. Are portals, can you access them from within Plex, or can you only pull in IntelliPlex reports as like a Plex screen within Plex?
So think of it as a portal as just another way of calling up an IntelliPlex report, right?
Mhm.
So a portal is normally, or they call it a dashboard, right?
Yeah.
Is a really large terming on this, is a document that has little reports in it, right?
Okay.
We call them widgets, right? They're all little bitty IntelliPlex reports, normally charts or something, right?
Mhm.
So you build the portal, the dashboard, the document, and you can have all of these individual reports in it. You can then put that into Plex and have that come up as, and I'm air quoting, a report.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Good deal. And I think creating a chart. Okay, the last thing, and this is about visualizations. There's terminology of creating a visualization versus assembling a visualization. Do you know anything about that or what the differences would be in that?
No, I can't. I've not played with that piece of it, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's only been out for a couple of weeks. I've poked at it. I've not investigated that deeply between the different pieces of it.
Okay, gotcha. And that's all I've got. Thank you for your help.
Hey, anybody else on the call can help him?
I do believe I heard some talk about some of the tables would be moved to a more near real time to an hour or so. So I'll look into that a little bit because I'm pretty sure I heard about that too.
Yeah, I thought I heard about that as well, and I thought it might have been somewhere, it wasn't just one other like 4 hours and 1 hour, but I thought I saw one was like 30 minutes, or somewhere an hour. But yeah, I can't remember where that came from.
Yeah, and I think it was going to be some of the more transactional tables so that if we wanted to pull scrap or production right away, we'd get
Hmm.
more real time data.
Yeah.
Cool. So my last word on this is there is an IntelliPlex Club group in the community. Join that, keep in the know. And I'm part of that, and I've been some of the limited pad groups for that. And that's why I said I haven't heard that, but it could be one of those things that my brain just didn't retain it and it went right out the other ear. It's like so.
I don't see any other questions, Veronica, so I think you can move on.
Okie dokie. So just released. Have you guys ever needed to open a case to have a data source added to your PCN? That is now self-service for customers with web services and data source modules. These are going to be available or accessible to security auditors and users with those actions defined. In documents, in the community, look for finding data sources to configure that one. Okay, something pretty cool. So I'm going to go back a slide so that you guys can see this. That's this, right? This is process flow using something called a flow designer. It's a beta product. There's customers that are part of the LA group, but in Plex, he's creating a report using an API to bring back real-time data for knowing if a container doesn't have a lot number associated with it. It's going to have its own scheduler to automate the report running, and it's definitely in beta. But the process flows may be being rolled out for the design portion. You can find the documentation for this also in the community in the quality management system section. So I'm assuming that you might have to have the quality module active in the PCN to be able to get to this. But this is some cool stuff.
I don't see any questions here. Anyone got questions on this issue? Veronica, I think that's pretty exciting as somebody who's had to put in a lot of cases to get those activated. Plex does
Yeah.
respond really quickly, which is great, but to be able to do it on our own would be even better. You save
Yeah.
a couple hours here or there, especially right before go live, is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been looking forward to that too because we've gone through the process of trying to figure out which API to use or which data source to use, and you're kind of guessing until you activate them, and then you got 5 activated you don't need.
Yep.
I'm not sure you can inactivate them, but at least it's allowing you to activate them yourself so that you don't have to open a case for each one and then add another one to the case, right?
I see Cipher Graphics came off mute. Guys, how can we help you?
I got a question about the process flows. So looking at how you have it here, is this going to be something that's going to be able to run in the background and find this, or is somebody going to have to go through and hit start in order to make it run?
Right now they're hitting start, but there's a scheduler that they've put into beta that will allow this to auto run. I think he said everywhere between 5 to 15 minutes. I've got a client that was showing me this. So this is pretty slick. It's like, ooh, I would like to play with this one.
Veronica,
It is running right now on scheduler. And
There
it
you
is
go.
pretty slick.
Oh, there's Heather. Welcome, Heather. Heather's with Jiffy,
Chelsea Milling Company.
Chelsea Milling, and this is
Okay.
Chelsea's. Yes.
Do you think it would be worthwhile, guys? Go ahead, throw this in the chat. Do you think it'd be worthwhile to have a specific session on process flows? If you do, throw it in the chat and we'll add one. If we get enough responses. Wow, the messages are coming. Veronica, it's an overwhelming yes.
Great.
So we'll get you on
I've
this.
never even seen them.
Well, you got a little time because I think we're booked out with topics through February 2025, maybe, Jill? It's
Awesome.
we're booked out, so you got a little bit of time, but we can maybe sneak an extra one in there too. Or maybe I have a big announcement at the end of the session. Maybe we could do it then. We'll see. Let's keep going, Veronica. I think our questions are good.
Okay. I just thought process flows are pretty darn cool, guys. So everybody uses label printers, right? Our own Ken Keller made a stellar find. So if you're using the Zebra 420 thermal printer, there is a replacement for that called an ArcScan, ARKSCAN 2054. These printers are somewhere between 50 to $100 cheaper than the Zebras, so about $139. They seem to be faster and easier to use. Basically, a Chinese clone of the Zebra.
So, Veronica, are you ordering one for everybody on the Control+M team?
I don't know. Will my boss approve it?
She's kind of tight. We'll have to see.
She's kind of cheap.
We got a question. Are they only thermal or are they thermal transfer type as well?
I don't know. I'd have to actually go in and look for those to see which they are.
Yeah, that's a great question because for us at Control+M, we don't have to have labels that last very long.
Right.
So, Veronica, you want to talk about the two different types of printers just in case everyone doesn't understand the two different types? I didn't understand it. So,
Oh, okay. So, and again, it depends on the type of label that you're feeding through it, right? So thermal printers actually use heat on the label to bring the image up. Otherwise, you use a ribbon and a label to do a transfer. The difference is if you're running warehouses and your warehouses don't have AC and they get really hot, a thermal label will get hot and then kind of, I don't want to say dissolve, but the heat activates the ink and then it's no longer as clear or visible and your barcodes squosh and lots of things.
yeah, don't they fade over time too, Veronica? So
they can fade over time, yeah.
So they're great for testing or if you've got high inventory turns, they're good. But I wouldn't use them for, let's say, location labels on your locations, your Plex locations. I don't think I would use it for that.
No, but if you're throwing them on, outbound shipping documents, cases that are shipping, they're fine, right? Because they're going to leave the dock and they're fine.
Veronica, I remember the first time you explained this to me, you did a great job. You said, have you ever gotten a UPS package in the mail where the label's really, really faded? And I said, yeah. And she said, that's really not the thermal transfer type because it doesn't have to last that long. It's UPS. It should be at your house in a couple days. So
right. And basically the biggest drawback to any thermal label is heat, right? So as long as your environment's not heat or it's going to, be someplace where it's going to be too hot and that label is going to degrade, they're fine.
Good. Well, like I said, there's not a whole lot of content here, but Veronica, do you have any other things that you wanted to share?
Well, has anybody seen the progress bar in the file export? So it's supposed to be going to like 0 to 100 versus just that circle that goes round forever and ever.
Nice.
I've not, but I was curious, like George. I know.
When did that roll up, Veronica?
I'd say about 6 to 8 weeks ago. I think I saw the first notification on it.
I'm guessing no one's seen it since they don't have, since I'm not getting the chat.
Okay. And if we
Ro-
still have time, we've got high-level EDI questions. And I say, like, how's that 3PL 940, working for you? Right? And anyone who's worked with EDI with me will know that usually the first question I will always ask you is, do you have the specification?
It's a quiet group today.
It is. Or I'm really good at talking. I don't know which.
Well, Veronica, do you mind if I take over for just a quick minute here?
You certainly shall.
All right. I want to share some exciting news with everybody. Let's see.
Would you like me to stop sharing my screen?
I just stole it from you.
You're so funny.
I just want to announce to everybody that we are delighted to be putting on a 2-day show at the Rockwell Tower in Milwaukee, October 15th and 16th. We are doing a survey right now to identify topics. We'll have about, I think, between 18 and 20 presentations, all focused on Plex. Our goal is kind of to get maybe a mini sort of PowerPlex type event going where we'll be talking about nothing but Plex all day long for 2 days. If you are interested in knowing more about Plexapalooza, which we coined, where Jill's actually putting up the website as we speak. If we have questions about Plexapalooza, please feel free to email me or Veronica or Jill. If you're interested in giving us your thoughts on sessions you'd like to see, let me know because we'd be happy to send you the survey link for it. We think we have, what, Jill, like 24 different ideas. Some are already locked in stone. We have a keynote speaker. John Howard from the JH2 Performance Group is going to be speaking on operational excellence. And Vicki Beltran from Packer is going to be speaking on organizational change management. Everything else will be technical and Plex related. We'd like to have some folks, hold on, Bill just asked for Veronica's email. And I'm sending that in there. We'd like to have some folks do customer stories. So if you've got a compelling customer story you'd like to give, let us know. And what we're working on really, really hard is trying to make this a very affordable event. We're basically trying to do this as a break even. We've got a couple sponsors, one of which, and the most generous, is Rockwell, who's letting us use their space. So it's kind of exciting. They're gonna let us be at the Rockwell Tower, and we'd love to have you join us. So my email, I think you probably all got it because you got this invite from me. Or Jill's is JILL at ControlM.Solutions. Veronica's Veronica at ControlM.Solutions. So any chats we'd like to see on that? Any comments or ideas?
Hey, Patty, are you saying that, like, say there might be a session on how to build an IntelliPlex report, something like that, or?
Yep, exactly like that, Heather. I mean, I know you guys, so if the really older folks on here, it's going to be more meaningful to talk about PowerPlex. And PowerPlex used to be a 2 to 3 day event that was all Plex sessions all day long with deeper workshops. So one of the ideas that we are our planning group, we have a great planning group that meets weekly to start talking about putting this together, is like a 2-hour workflow session. We're talking about having Veronica talk about IntelliPlex 2.0 and EDI. She's going to buzz up from Chicago, so she's going to do those sessions. Thanks, Danny. Danny mentioned he's looking forward to this event. Just so y'all know, this all kind of came up last fall at Rockwell Automation Fair in Boston at the Cheers Bar. Folks said, hey, Control+M, you guys ought to do a couple day show, and we were able to put it together. We're just now working on getting a block of hotel rooms. We got the food taken care of, the dates taken care of, keynotes taken care of. Now we just need the rest of the topics so we can find speakers. So if you've got a great compelling story that you want to share, if you're interested in joining us, whatever, email me and get more information. And Jill's going to be working on getting that website set up. Paula, I know you said you're excited to hear we're doing this. We're excited about it too. Thanks for all your support. We're just so delighted to be part of such a great community. Hopefully you can make it. Milwaukee's nice in October, guys. Don't be scared, okay?
Oktoberfest.
It's usually not snowing by the middle of October. Great. Our next session is going to be in 2 weeks, where Zach Farley, who's generally pretty shy, is going to present average costing in a standard costing model. He's going to talk about why you might use it. So really, commodity price swings are probably the biggest reason, and why average costing might be right or not right. And care and maintenance of the average costing system. So we'll be sending out that invite in about a week. So you can email Jill if you're interested. Otherwise, the invite will come out next week. And thank you so much, Veronica. As always, you do a great job. Appreciate you putting yourself out there to play Stump the Chump. So thanks, everyone. Have a good day.